This is Emma. At just 12 years old, she had endured more pain and hardship than most people face in a lifetime. Born and raised on the cold streets of Chicago by a mentally ill mother, Emma had no father, no real home, and no one fighting for her future. She spent only 2 years in school before dropping out because the kind woman who had been paying her fees suddenly moved away, hopeless, forgotten, yet incredibly smart. But one day, everything changed. She met Ava, the daughter of a billionaire, studying at the best private school money could buy, yet struggling to learn. And it was Emma, the barefoot girl from under the bridge, who became her secret teacher. But when Ava's powerful father discovered a homeless child teaching his daughter behind their mansion's garden shed, what he did next will leave you speechless. So grab your popcorn, sit back, and get ready for one of the most powerful stories you'll ever hear. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button to support more inspiring stories like this one. Dirty kid, I said get out of here! A wad of spit hit the ground just inches from Emma's bare feet. She didn't move. She was used to it. The grocery clerk's voice sliced through the air again. Is this a trash can? You and that crazy woman better move before I call the cops. Emma tightened her grip on her mother, Carla, who sat on the curb beside the store's dumpster, mumbling softly and tracing invisible lines in the dust with one trembling finger. Her coat had slipped off one shoulder, revealing scars and dirt, but Carla didn't seem to notice. She was lost in another world, one only she could see. People passed by, some slowed down, some stared. One woman stopped, frowned, shook her head, and kept walking. No one helped. No one ever did. Emma was only 12, but the streets had aged her soul. She didn't cry anymore when people called her names. Crazy girl, dumpster kid, daughter of a nutcase. She'd heard them all. What hurt more was the pity, those quick glances full of sadness but no hand of help. Her mother used to be beautiful, or so she imagined. On rare good days, Carla would hum old lullabies and call her my sunshine. But those moments were rare, like lightning. There 1 second, gone the next. Most days, Carla didn't even know where she was. She'd yell at her reflection in puddles, chase after shadows, and scream at voices only she could hear. Emma had no father, not even a picture. "Who's my dad?" she once asked. Carla had looked at her blankly and said, "I don't know, baby. Maybe the rain." That was the end of that. They slept under an old bridge near West Garfield Park. If it rained, they got soaked. If it snowed, they froze. Their mattress was flattened cardboard. Their blanket, silence. Dreams? Emma didn't have those anymore. Survival was all she knew. Every morning began the same way. Carla screaming into the air. Emma would hold her close and whisper, "It's okay, Mom. It's me. You're safe." Then she'd wipe her mother's face with a piece of damp tissue and lead her back to their usual corner where Carla would beg and Emma would watch. That was their life. Sometimes people tossed coins. Mostly they tossed insults. "Mom, please don't talk today, okay?" Emma whispered one morning, fixing her mother's torn jacket. "Just sit quiet." But Carla suddenly jumped up and screamed at a passing car, "Give me my wings! I left them in your trunk!" The driver honked and sped off. Emma's face burned with shame. Across the street, a girl in a clean uniform holding a lunchbox was staring. Their eyes met. Then the girl turned, whispered something to her friend, and laughed. Emma looked down at her own dusty legs, her cracked nails, her dry hands. Her stomach growled, but she ignored it. Hunger was normal. Still, beneath it all, she dreamed. She dreamed of sitting in a classroom again, of wearing clean clothes, of raising her hand and answering questions, of being called by her name without disgust. But who would pay for the daughter of a woman who screamed at cars? No one. And yet still, Emma hoped. She watched other kids walk to school every morning and whispered, one day I'll be one of them." She counted the few crumpled dollars and coins in her pocket. $1.42, enough for a small sandwich. Behind her, someone yelled, "Curse this poverty!" Emma didn't turn around. She just held her mother's hand tighter and whispered, "Amen." It started with a plate of warm food. Emma had been crouched beside her mother outside a gas station one afternoon, her stomach twisting from hunger. Carla was quiet that day, just rocking back and forth, humming to herself. That's when Emma noticed a woman watching her from across the street. She stood behind a small food truck, steam rising, the smell of chili and cornbread in the air. The woman was light-skinned, kind-faced, wearing an apron that read Lydia's Kitchen. There was something in her eyes that wasn't pity. Emma looked away. She hated being stared at.
Minutes later, the woman crossed the street and stood in front of her. "What's your name, sweetheart?" she asked gently. Emma hesitated. "Emma. And your mom?" Emma pointed to Carla, who was now singing softly to a bottle cap. The woman's face softened. "She's not well, huh?" Emma shook her head. "What'd you eat today?" Emma didn't answer. Instead of pressing, the woman opened a box and handed it to her. "Here, eat this." Emma hesitated. People didn't just give food for free. They always wanted something in return. "It's okay," the woman smiled. "I don't want anything." That was the day she met Miss Lydia. The food was warm, soft, and real. Emma hadn't tasted meat in months. That evening, Miss Lydia came back with bottled water and soap. "What's your story, kid?" she asked, helping her clean her hands. And for the first time, Emma told someone everything. The streets, her mom, the school she once peeked into, her dreams. She didn't cry, but her voice cracked. Miss Lydia wiped her hands gently. "Tomorrow, come to my truck. You can help me clean and I'll feed you. Deal?" Emma nodded so hard it made her dizzy. The next day, she showed up. She swept, washed dishes, served customers. And she watched Lydia closely, how she smiled, how she ran her little business with grace. One afternoon, Lydia saw Emma writing numbers in the dust with a stick. "Where'd you learn that?" she asked. Emma smiled shyly. "From standing outside that school on Madison Street. I memorized what the teacher says." Lydia's eyes widened. "You mean you never actually went to school?" "Only for a few weeks. A lady paid for me, but she moved away." Lydia was silent. Then she nodded slowly. A week later, she gave Emma a gift, a notebook and a pack of pencils. The week after that, she went a step further. 3 weeks later, Emma stood trembling in a dusty public school classroom. She wore an oversized uniform Lydia had bought from a thrift store. It hung loose, but to Emma, it felt like a crown. "Behave yourself," Lydia said proudly. "Make me proud, okay?" Emma nodded, clutching her notebook like treasure. The first day was rough. Kids laughed. Some whispered. But when the teacher asked a question and Emma answered before anyone else, everything changed. She was brilliant. She solved math problems older kids couldn't. She memorized poems after hearing them once. Even the principal asked, "Who trained this girl?" And Emma always answered, "Miss Lydia." Every evening, she went back to help at the truck. Her reward wasn't just food, it was Lydia's approving smile. For the first time, Emma felt seen, felt loved. Then everything changed. One night, Lydia came home holding a white envelope. "My sister finally got my papers processed," she said through tears. "I'm moving to Canada." Emma smiled faintly. "So we're leaving together?" Lydia's smile faded. "No, Emma. Just me." Emma's heart dropped. "What about me?" "I paid for your school this term," Lydia said softly. "Maybe God will send someone else to help you." Emma didn't speak. She just nodded, fighting back tears. 3 weeks later, Lydia was gone. No one told her goodbye. No one paid her fees. When the principal called her in, she said gently, "I'm sorry, Emma. Without payment, you can't stay." Emma stood outside the gate for hours, clutching her backpack, waiting, hoping Lydia would come back. But she never did. The sun began to set. Her uniform was dusty, her stomach empty. Parents arrived, hugging their kids. No one came for her. Finally, the janitor walked over. "Kid, you gotta go home." Emma nodded. She stood, dusted herself off, and walked away. But she didn't go home because where was home? Their old spot under the bridge now had a new resident, a drunk man who threw bottles at her the last time she came. The alley where her mom used to sit was taken by older boys who smoked and fought anyone who came near. The streets had changed. The only thing that hadn't changed was her mother. Still lost in her mind, still barefoot, still talking to ghosts. When Emma found her that night, Carla was trying to feed a dead pigeon with cold fries. "Mom, it's me," Emma whispered. "Let's go somewhere safe." Carla slapped her. Emma wiped the blood off her lip and sat beside her anyway. They slept on the pavement that night, surrounded by trash and mosquitoes. Carla laughed in her sleep. Emma didn't sleep at all. The next morning, she put on her uniform again, tied her books in a plastic bag, and walked back to school. She waited by the gate. Maybe they'd change their minds. But when the principal saw her, she frowned. Emma, you can't stay here without payment. Go home. I'll pay, Emma stammered. How? The woman snapped. You and your crazy mother can't even eat. The words hit like a slap. Teachers stared. Parents whispered. Please, Emma begged softly. Just let me sit at the back. I won't make noise. The principal shook her head. This isn't charity. Leave. The gate slammed shut.
Emma sat on the curb and cried into her notebook until the pages blurred. Days passed. Weeks. She tried going back to Lydia's truck, but it had a new owner who chased her away. She sold her only pair of shoes for $3 to buy bread and canned soup. Her uniform faded. Her notebook got soaked in the rain until the ink bled away. People stopped seeing her as the smart girl. Now she was just another homeless kid. One night, while searching for a dry spot to sleep, she saw a group of kids smoking something behind a dumpster. One boy, maybe 9, called out, "Come on, try it. Makes you forget you're hungry." Emma shook her head and walked away. Her hunger screamed, but her fear of becoming like them was louder. She still had her mind, and she wasn't going to lose that too. No matter how many times they mocked her, Emma kept returning to one place, the back fence of Westbrook Academy, a private school that looked like a castle from her side of the city. The walls were white and gold. The kids wore blazers and shiny shoes. She didn't belong there, but that didn't stop her. Behind one classroom, a small window was always cracked open, beside a tall oak tree. That became her secret spot. From there, she could see the blackboard, the lessons, the teacher's every move. Emma would mouth the answers quietly, clutching a broken pencil. Her notebook was long gone, so she wrote on scraps of paper, flyers, receipts, anything she found. Each day she stayed until the bell rang, then slipped away unseen. Until one Monday, she wasn't fast enough. "Who's that?" the teacher barked. Emma froze. A student pointed and laughed. "It's that crazy girl again, the one who scares at us." The whole class burst out laughing. The teacher stormed to the back door. "What are you doing here?" Emma whispered, trembling. "I just wanted to learn, please. I'll stay outside." "Are you insane? This isn't public property. Please, ma'am, I won't disturb anyone." "Then tell your mother to pay tuition first, if you even know who she is." The words hit harder than any slap. Emma turned and ran, tears blurring her sight. She didn't stop until her feet ached. Still, she didn't give up. The next day, she found another school, Lincoln Middle, smaller, older. She didn't peek through windows this time. She just sat outside the fence, listening. When the kids recited their multiplication tables, she whispered along. When they read aloud, she followed quietly. One day, a boy noticed her and threw a rock. "Get lost, freak! Go learn at the psych ward like your mom." The rock hit her shoulder, but she didn't cry. She came back the next day, and the day after that, until one afternoon, a security guard grabbed her arm. "Why are you always sneaking around? You a thief?" "I'm not a thief, sir. I just want to learn." He didn't listen. He shoved her away. "Next time I see you, you'll regret it." Emma limped away, looking back at the building. The bright walls, the desks, the books. Everything she wanted yet couldn't have. She sat under a tree and wrote multiplication tables in the dirt. When the wind blew them away, she started again. That night, as her mother mumbled beside her, Emma looked up at the stars. "God, why'd you make me smart just to let me suffer?" There was no answer, just the sound of traffic and the soft sob of a child desperate for more than survival. The first time Emma carried a crate of water bottles, her arms nearly gave out from the weight. She was barefoot. The crate was cracked. She'd gotten it on credit from a convenience store owner named Mrs. Doris. "Don't drop any," Doris warned. "If you break one, you pay, and no sitting to rest." Emma nodded. She was used to cruel rules. She lifted the crate and stepped into the sun. The Chicago streets didn't care that she was 12, didn't care that her feet were bleeding or her back hurt. All it cared about was hustle. Other vendors pushed her aside, older kids mocked her, but she kept walking. Every time she sold a bottle, she whispered to herself, $1 closer to food. Her goal was simple, feed her mom. By midday, she was trembling, her lips cracked, her throat dry. She sat under a faded billboard and counted. 12 bottles sold, $12 earned. A man walking by noticed her and dropped a $20 bill in her crate. "Get yourself something to eat, kid." Emma blinked. "Thank you, sir." But the moment he turned the corner, a teenage boy snatched the bill and ran. She chased him, screaming, but he disappeared into the crowd. Emma sank by the sidewalk and cried. People passed by. No one looked twice. That night, she returned to where her mother sat, clapping and humming. "Mom," she said softly, "I brought bread." Her mother looked confused. "Who are you? Are you the angel with dark wings?" Emma smiled weakly. "No, Mom, I'm your daughter, Emma." Carla giggled. "My daughter's a star. She fell from the sky and drowned in honey." Emma sat beside her and tore the bread into small pieces, feeding her one by one. She didn't eat herself. She was too tired. Later that night, Emma found a cracked mirror by the trash can. She stared at her reflection. Sunburned skin, swollen eyes, cracked lips. She looked nothing like the kids in school. And yet when she whispered math problems to herself, she still got the answers right. "When you divide 6 by 3, what do you get?" she murmured. 2. She smiled weakly. No matter how much the world tried to break her, her mind was still sharp. Her fire still burned. And that was enough to keep her going.
The next day, she was back on the road, tray full, feet blistered, heart steady. She was selling bottled water at the intersection, but deep down, she was chasing something far bigger, a chance. Just one chance to prove that the daughter of a mentally ill woman didn't have to die on the streets. Emma wasn't supposed to be there. Riverside Academy wasn't the kind of place a homeless girl could walk into. It had tall iron gates with gold crests, guarded by men in navy uniforms wearing earpieces. Kids arrived in spotless uniforms, stepping out of shiny black SUVs. The walls gleamed white. The glass windows sparkled like diamonds. It was a school for the wealthy, the powerful, definitely not for a barefoot girl who sold water by the freeway. But Emma had seen it too many times from across the street. The laughter, the flags, the bell ringing. And today, something inside her whispered, "Go closer." She had no money, no plan, and no right to be there. But she had hope. So she crept around the fence where tall grass and weeds grew wild. There, near a drainage pipe, she found a small gap. She slid through, scraping her arms, but her heart thudded with fire. She expected to be caught immediately, but no one saw her. She moved quietly past the flower beds, hiding behind trees, ducking every time she saw a teacher or student. Eventually, she found a quiet corner, behind a tall oak tree near the back field. From there, she could see one of the junior classrooms through an open window. She crouched low, pulled out a tiny pencil from her pocket, and began scribbling words she heard on the back of a paper bag. She was halfway through sounding out a tough English passage when a voice behind her said, "You're the girl they always chase away, right?" Emma's heart nearly stopped. She spun around. A girl about her age stood there, blonde hair braided neatly, clean uniform, name tag shining. I didn't mean any harm," Emma stammered. "I was just listening." The girl tilted her head. "Why?" Emma blinked, confused. "Because I want to learn." The girl's name tag read Ava Reynolds. Ava stepped closer. "You don't go to school?" Emma shook her head. "No. My mom, she's sick. We live by the old bridge." Ava looked down at her polished shoes. Her voice softened. "People laugh at me too. They say I'm stupid. That my dad paid for me to keep passing." Emma's eyes widened. "You? But you go to this school." Ava nodded. "I don't understand anything they teach. I sit out here during lunch, so nobody sees me struggle." A silence fell between them. Then Ava smiled gently. "Do you want to sit?" Emma hesitated. Ava sat first, then patted the grass beside her. Slowly, Emma sat down. Ava opened her mouth book. "Can you teach me this? I don't get it." Emma looked at the page. Fractions. She studied it a moment, then took the book carefully. "Okay, see this? 1/2 and 1/4. They're not the same because the bottoms, the denominators, are different." Within minutes, Ava's eyes lit up. She understood. I get it! Oh my gosh, I actually get it!" Emma smiled shyly. "You're not dumb." Ava grinned. "And you're not just smart, you're amazing." They laughed under that oak tree for over an hour. When the bell rang, Ava stood and said, "Will you come tomorrow?" Emma hesitated. "They'll chase me away. I don't belong here." Ava frowned, then said, "Wait here." She ran off. Minutes later, she returned with the school's security guard behind her. "This is my friend. Her name is Emma. She'll be here tomorrow during lunch. Let her in." The guard hesitated, "But she's not." "She's my friend," Ava repeated firmly, "and my dad owns this school. Got a problem with that?" The guard blinked.
shook his head. Ava turned to Emma. Same time tomorrow, okay? Emma nodded, slowly, stunned.
As she left the school, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Not fear, not shame, hope. That night, as her mother, Carla, mumbled and sang to herself under the flickering light of a broken street lamp, Emma knelt by the sidewalk and whispered, God, I met someone today. She didn't call me dirty. She saw me. Please, let me see her again. She fell asleep with a smile, the first in a long time. They met under that oak tree every single day. Emma came barefoot, clutching her dull pencil and scraps of paper. Ava came with her lunchbox packed by the family cook. Two girls from two different worlds, but when they sat there, none of that mattered. Ava laughed more. She paid attention in class, not because teachers explained better, but because Emma did. Don't read it like a robot, Emma whispered. Read it like you're talking to your best friend. She tried, stumbled, then got it. Emma clapped her hands, cheering. Ava's eyes glowed. No one's ever clapped for me before. Emma frowned. But you're rich. Don't people celebrate you? Ava shook her head. Only when I dress right or smile at parties. Not when I try. That day, Emma held her hand and whispered, You deserve more. Ava didn't reply. She just squeezed her hand tighter. One afternoon, while sharing spaghetti under the tree, Ava asked, Do you have a best friend? Emma smiled. You? Ava smiled back. Then her face fell. Emma, what if my dad finds out? What if he says we can't be friends? Emma paused. Then you'll forget me. That's how it works? No, Ava said firmly. I won't. Emma whispered, Rich people don't want their daughters with girls like me. My mom begs by the street. They think I'm cursed. Ava leaned forward, eyes fierce. You're not cursed. You're magic. Emma blinked. Magic? Yes, Ava said. Who else can teach better than my teachers? Who else can make me laugh when I want to cry? You make this place feel like home. Emma's eyes filled, but she held back tears. From then, they shared everything. Food, stories, secrets. Ava brought Emma a notebook, a hairbrush, even slippers. Emma told her stories about stars that fell in love with homeless girls and rain that healed broken mothers. For the first time, Ava didn't feel alone, and Emma didn't feel invisible. But they kept it secret. Ava didn't tell anyone, not her teachers, not her father, billionaire Mr. Reynolds. Under that oak tree, they built a world of their own, one where background didn't matter. One day, Emma didn't show up. Ava waited, 30 minutes, an hour. Panic rose in her chest. Then she heard a voice. Ava! Emma ran up, breathless. Sorry I'm late. My mom had an episode. I had to pull her from the road. Ava hugged her tight. I thought you weren't coming. Emma smiled weakly. Even if I had to crawl, I'd come. Ava looked at her seriously. One day I'll tell my dad, I promise. Emma's voice trembled. What if he says no? Ava smiled. Then I'll scream until he says yes. That night, Emma lay beside her mother, who clutched a broken bottle like a baby. She stared at the sky. God, please don't let me lose her. She opened the notebook Ava gave her. On the first page, two stick girls holding hands under a tree, both smiling. Emma traced it with her finger and smiled before falling asleep peacefully. The morning started like any other. Ava sat through her classes distracted, waiting for the lunch bell. Her fingers tapped her desk restlessly, her heart beating faster than usual. The teachers praised her improved performance. She had answered 2 questions correctly in literature. Even the principal mentioned it at assembly. But Ava didn't care. None of them knew the reason behind the change. It wasn't tutoring from an expensive private coach. It was Emma, the barefoot girl with a brilliant mind and a heart bigger than anyone she had ever known.
Ava couldn't wait to see her. At exactly 12:35 p.m., she was already under the oak tree behind the school field, with 2 spoons, a lunchbox, and Emma's favorite chocolate chip cookie tucked neatly into the corner. Then she heard it, the low hum of black SUVs rolling into the school courtyard. Students turned to look. Teachers froze mid-sentence. Even the security guards straightened their uniforms and saluted. Ava's stomach dropped. Dad? Why is he here? Mr. Reynolds never visited the school without warning. He was too busy for surprises. His name alone carried weight. His presence filled every space before he even spoke. Ava stood quickly, brushing crumbs from her skirt. She didn't know what to do. Then, before she could act, Emma appeared. breathless, smiling, barefoot as always. "I'm here," she said, panting slightly. "Sorry, I had to fetch water before leaving." But Ava wasn't smiling. Her eyes were locked on the tall figure stepping out of the SUV. Dark suit, polished shoes, presence commanding. Mr. Reynolds, her father. Emma followed her gaze. Her body stiffened. "Is that—" Ava nodded slowly. "My dad." Emma's smile vanished. Panic crashed through her chest like a wave. "She has to go," she whispered, but it was too late. "Ava." The deep voice echoed across the lawn. She turned. Mr. Reynolds walked forward, followed by two assistants. His eyes were sharp, calculating, but also confused. "What are you doing out here?" Ava swallowed hard. "I was having lunch." "With who?" Mr. Reynolds looked beside his daughter and saw Emma, a girl in a torn dress, legs dusty, holding a worn plastic bag and a half-eaten cookie. His brow furrowed. "Who is this?" Emma bowed her head. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Her whole body trembled. Ava quickly stepped in front of her. "This is Emma. She's my friend." "Your what?" "She helps me. She teaches me." Mr. Reynolds blinked. "Excuse me?" Ava took a deep breath and stood taller. "The reason I've been doing well in school? It's because of her. She teaches me during lunch every day. I understand her better than any teacher here." A long, heavy silence followed. Mr. Reynolds' eyes stayed fixed on the trembling girl behind his daughter. Then he asked, quietly, "Who are your parents, child?" Emma barely looked up. Her voice cracked. "I don't know my father, sir. My mother, she's sick. She begs by the roadside near the 6th Street Bridge. People call her crazy. We have no home." One of the assistants shifted awkwardly. Mr. Reynolds' face remained unreadable. "You're not in school?" Emma shook her head. "Why?" "No one to pay the fees. My only sponsor left the country 2 years ago." Ava grabbed Emma's hand tightly. Mr. Reynolds saw that gesture, his daughter holding this girl's hand like a lifeline, and for the first time, he softened. "You've been coming here every day, teaching her in secret." Ava nodded. "I wanted to tell you, but I was scared." He looked at her gently. "Scared of me?" Ava whispered, "Scared you wouldn't let me see her again." The billionaire turned back to Emma. She flinched. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said softly. "Take me to your mother, please." Emma took a shaky step back. "Sir, please don't punish her. She doesn't know what I do here. She's not well. If I stop coming, I'll stay away. Just don't hurt her." "I won't," Mr. Reynolds said gently. "I just want to see her." Ava looked at her father, pleading. "Promise you won't send Emma away." He stared at both girls, two children from different worlds, but somehow they had found each other. "I promise," he said. 30 minutes later, the convoy pulled into a rundown street near Riverside. Flies buzzed. The scent of burning trash filled the air. Emma pointed. "She's there." A woman sat on the sidewalk barefoot, rocking back and forth, laughing at nothing. Her clothes were torn, her hair matted. "That's my mom," Emma whispered. Mr. Reynolds was silent. He stepped out of the car and walked toward her. Then he crouched beside her gently. "Ma'am." Carla looked up, eyes wide. "Did you bring my wings?" "I left them in your car." Tears welled in Emma's eyes. "I'm going to help her," Mr. Reynolds said quietly. "She needs proper care." "Please," Emma said, voice trembling. "I don't want money. I just want her to be okay." He stood, turned to his assistant, and gave firm orders.
Call Dr. Walker at Mercy Psychiatric. Full admission, no delays. Then he turned back to Emma. "And you?" Emma's heart raced. "From today," he said, kneeling in front of her, "you are not a homeless girl." She gasped. He placed a hand on her shoulder, looking straight into her eyes. "You have a father now." Emma didn't believe it at first. Even as the car pulled away from the dirty street that had been her entire world, even as she watched through the tinted glass while her mother was gently lifted into an ambulance bound for the best psychiatric hospital in Los Angeles, even when Ava held her hand and whispered, "You're safe now," she still thought it was a dream. She didn't cry, she didn't smile, she just stared, trying to understand how a day that started with fear had somehow ended with a billionaire calling her daughter. Mr. Reynolds moved fast. By evening, Emma had taken her first proper bath in years. Ava gave her fresh pajamas. Her hair was gently combed by one of the housekeepers, who couldn't hide her surprise when Mr. Reynolds said, "This is Emma. She'll be staying with us from now on. Treat her with the same respect you give my daughter." The entire household froze. The girl from the street living here? But Mr. Reynolds' tone left no room for questions. The next morning, Emma stood in front of the mirror in Ava's room wearing a borrowed Riverside Academy uniform. It was new, crisp, perfectly ironed. She could hardly recognize herself. Ava clapped with delight. "You look just like me." Emma smiled weakly. "I feel like I'm dreaming." "You're not," Ava said warmly. "My dad said it's real. He said you belong here." Emma's voice trembled. "But I'm the daughter of a madwoman." Ava shook her head. "No, you're the daughter of my father now." Emma turned slowly to the window, staring at the morning light spilling over the city. "I don't know how to thank him." Ava smiled. "Then thank him the only way he truly cares about. Shine. Show the world what you can do." That day, the two girls walked into Riverside Academy together. Matching uniforms, matching bags, matching smiles. Gasps followed them. Students whispered. Teachers blinked in confusion. Wasn't that the same street girl who used to hover behind the fence? Yes, but today, she walked beside the daughter of the school's owner. No more sneaking, no more hiding. She had come through the front gate as a student. In class, Emma raised her hand. Every question, every lesson. She wasn't just good, she was exceptional. By the end of the day, teachers called a meeting with the principal. "Where did this girl come from?" one asked. "She's not just smart, she's exceptional." The principal smiled. "From the street, apparently, but now she's family." Meanwhile, Mr. Reynolds kept his promise. Carla was admitted to Mercy Psychiatric Center under Dr. Walker's care. Her condition is critical, but treatable. With medication, therapy, and love, she'll recover. Emma visited her mother once a week. At first, Carla didn't recognize her, shouting at walls, crying over invisible birds. But on the fifth visit, she suddenly paused, looked up at Emma, and whispered, You look like the sky." Emma burst into tears. Weeks passed. Emma adjusted to her new life slowly. She still woke up some nights gasping, thinking she was back under the bridge. She still flinched when someone moved too fast. But gradually, her smile grew freer, her laughter louder. She spoke up in class. She made new friends. But no one ever replaced Ava. They were sisters now. Not by blood, but by bond. They shared everything. Stories, secrets, lunches, dreams. Ava's grades soared. Her confidence bloomed. Teachers marveled. And everyone knew why. Because of the girl who once sat under the oak tree.
One Friday afternoon, Mr. Reynolds called Emma into his study. She stood nervously by the door. He gestured for her to sit. "I've been watching you," he said. "You've changed my daughter's life. And mine." Emma lowered her gaze. "I didn't mean to. I just wanted to learn." He chuckled. "And now you will. As far as I'm concerned, you're my child. And I'll do for you what I do for Ava." He opened a drawer and handed her a brand new tablet, loaded with study materials. Emma stared at it like it was gold, then whispered, "Thank you, sir. Thank you for seeing me when nobody else did." He placed a gentle hand on her head. "You were never invisible, Emma. You just needed someone to look close enough." That night, Emma sat in the garden under the oak tree, now neatly trimmed, surrounded by clean tiles and benches. She looked up at the stars. "My name is Emma," she whispered. "Daughter of no one, friend of Ava, student of Riverside Academy. And now," she smiled softly, "I have a father." She closed her eyes and whispered, "God, I used to ask you to make my mom better, to send me to school, to give me just one friend. You gave me all three. I don't deserve it, but thank you." She pressed a hand over her heart. "I promise I won't waste this chance." And so the girl the world once called the daughter of the crazy woman became something far greater. A symbol of hope, a walking miracle, a living answer to her own desperate prayer. For Mr. Reynolds, for Ava, and for everyone who ever believed that love and education can change a life, Emma was proof. The future had finally opened its doors, and she walked through them with her head held high. No child is born worthless. Every life holds potential. With kindness, opportunity, and education, even the most forgotten soul can rise. Emma's story reminds us that one act of compassion can break generations of pain. True greatness isn't where you come from. It's what happens when someone finally sees you. Believe, uplift, and never judge a child by their circumstance.
We hope you enjoyed this powerful story. Please share what you learned in the comments below. Your feedback means the world to us. And guess what? Another inspiring story is coming your way soon, so make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to be the first to watch when we upload. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like and share it with your family and friends. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.